Introduction of the function of Election Commission in Malaysia. Election in Malaysia will occur every 4 years, though a full term lasts 5 years. There are few processes of election in Malaysia. The process begins the day Parliament is dissolved and the election must be held within 60 days of the dissolution of Parliament. Speaking of the process of election in Malaysia, it will be handled by Election Commission because this is one of their responsible. The Election Commission's policy is to safeguard, supervise, and maintain the democratic process in our country by holding free and fair election. So, there are several functions of the Election Commission.
This function is reviewing boundaries constituencies. The objective of this function is to allocate voters in voting area. It is also to ensure that gerrymandering is occurred in Malaysia. What is gerrymander? Gerrymandering is to arrange the boundaries of an area. Suruhan Pilihan Raya is in charge to carry this duty. First process of this function is to review report boundaries. This affair is entrusted to SPR to review boundaries of parliamentary and state constituencies to the electoral division in a period of time that not less than 8 years since the last reviewing boundaries. This process is to conduct an inquiry into appeals. The objective of conducting inquiries into appeals is to hear out the appeal received and to conduct a local investigation to the appeal. The local investigation should not be conducted more than twice. The third process is generalization. The objective of this procedure is to ensure that the number of voters in voting areas must be almost the same. In this function, there are several principles that must be followed, which are facilities for voters are provided to vote during the elections. Necessary facilities for registration and during voting must be provided by the administrative facilities. The number of voters in voting zone must be almost the same. And lastly, those who are in charge should pay attention to the difficulties that may arise.
Okay, next, one of the function of Election Commission in Malaysia is carrying out registration of voters. So there are two types of registration of voters, which the first one is new registration. From the new registration, the Election Commission are accepting the applications from citizens who applying the register for the first time, while the second type of registration of voters is changing of address registration and polling station. Okay, from this type, the Election Commission also accepting the application of a registered voter who applies to register his new residential address. So, why the Election Commission need to carry out the registration and polling station is because if a voter move to a new place, then his polling station will be set according to the registration of the people new address. But recently, the Election Commission has launched the latest MySPR Daftar to make it easier for the Malaysian citizen to register as voters online. This can be seen through this portal. It will give an advantage towards the people when they just can register and review online using the Election Commission website, using their smartphone, laptop, or computer. So we know by doing this activity, it would be easier, faster, and save time for the people to make their new registration without need to attend such counters manually.
Election and voting in our country has been managed by an organization body to ensure the election process runs smoothly and is generally accepted as a way to avoid conflict. The body of organization responsible for managing the election process in Malaysia is the Election Commission. Under Article 114 of the Federal Constitution of Malaysia has empowered the Election Commission to conduct general election for House of Representatives and State Assembly, which are held every 5 years, while by-election are held in the event of a vacancy. The Election Commission must be transparent, independent, fair in handling the election process in order to form a desired government. A fair and free election not only reflect the will of the people, but is also an international competence standard on the level of integrity of human rights. A citizen has the right to choose the leader they want to lead the country leadership.
The last function of Election Commission is promote awareness on how important it is to vote. Voting is very important because it is responsibility for each people once it comes to preserving a country's democracy. Election Commission need to spread awareness on how important it is to vote, especially for the young generation. First important, it is the best way for selecting competent leaders. The Red Commission's suggested system was put to the test when the first election were held in 1995. The electoral system is thought to be capable of bringing Malay to that point in the direction of true democracy in which all citizens can elect a leader and have their opinions heard in the enactment of national law. Other than that, the stability of the country is secure. Malaysia is made up of various races and ethnicities, so when elections are held, the country will be more peaceful and stable because the people are given the right to vote. This can also avoid chaotic political issues and can attract foreigner investors because we have a peaceful country.
Conclusion: each of the functions play a very important role for the Election Commission to run smoothly without any obstacle to hinder the procedure of election. The function of Election Commission are reviewing boundaries of parliamentary and state constituencies, holding by-election and carrying out registration exercises, carrying out registration of voters and reviewing the list of voters in the electoral roll, and revise the electoral roll by deleting the names of who are dead or have been disqualified.